Or Lunchables. That we do not do anything with anymore. Did I buy ammo already? Yep. Okay, contemplation time.
Lily, have you tried connecting to the colony network?
I'm still not picking up a signal. It's like there's some kind of invisible barrier between
Visible
this place
barrier
and the
between
colony.
this place and the colony.
It's highly likely
Remember
the
that
Alpha
line.
Natiba at the top is responsible for this.
Now we...
Yeah.
That's definitely not true,
I'll
by
bet
the way.
that's why communications from Earth to the colony were impossible. Meaning, if we could get rid of it, we'd save ourselves a lot of trouble.
That's not exactly the craziest of ideas. I don't think that that's the reason. But yeah,
We
now
should find the central core
I
just
can
up
go
ahead
talk
from
about
here.
some ideas. Remember earlier when I started, was it this stream or the previous one, where I said that there is some like fitting explanations that I have not delved into yet, because I waited until like more appropriate moments. Okay, so the reason as to why we do not see the colony anywhere from this orbital elevator or when we go to the outside space sequence when we kill the Alpha Natiba, there is literally an invisible barrier, the same kind of barrier that we see at the start of the game when we invade Earth with those spaceships from the Mother Sphere or from the colony that launches the Angel Pods. There is those invisible barriers in front of those ships, and those same invisible barriers exist also in this open space here. They surround the entire Earth, the entire planet. And that somehow masks both the visibility as well as the connection from Earth to the colony. And I was gonna say that that is, you know, Mother Sphere's doing intentionally so that nobody can connect from Earth to the colony. But seeing how Mother Sphere, literally speaking, answers to Lily's SOS signal with the exosuit to save Eve, like almost immediately, like in the like when we fall out of space here, after destroying the Alpha Natiba here. And then also, Mother Sphere knows exactly the location of both Eve and Lily, regardless of which choice we make when we meet Adam or the Elder Natiba at the nest. So I think both of those combined, it seems too much of a coincidence that Mother Sphere like knew of our location all the time, and she was also behind this disconnection issue towards the network from Earth this entire time alone, when she's actually willing to help us immediately after when she gets the SOS signal from us. Although, okay, it's more appropriate time for this as well. So it could also be because Mother Sphere knows who Eve is, like our Eve, and it's a good time to say this. To put it short, our Eve is a prototype angel who is generationally unique compared to her peers. The entire Eve protocol is named after a one prototype angel who on each one of the squadron deployments has a very unique personality and artificial intelligence and algorithm and memories combined into the single prototype each one of the generations. And that is the person who, like, self-consciously believes that their own existence and who they are is Eve. They have this certain personality that they encapsulate and they feel unique for it. The other Eve protocol members are merely just complicated, like, combat units that are driven by an algorithm of artificial intelligence that is only meant for them to have prowess in combat and nothing else. The exception to that are the captains. The captains are also prototypes, but the Eve protocol is not named after the captains. The captain is meant to be a how do I say this? You know how like Eve calls Taki like her like you know there's this line in the game when she talks to Kaya and she says that I also have a person in my life who I call a sister because of her connection to Taki. You know, maybe Mother Sphere thought that if she creates another Eve protocol member next to Eve who also shows a lot of the same values as our Eve shows, not to mention because she's a captain, the captain has to have different values as well as different skill set compared to the normal Eve protocol members, the normal like warriors of the ranks, you know? So that is why their like artificial intelligence and self-consciousness that they show during the scenes they are in, aka Raven and Taki, that's why they are different, because they have to have this heightened sense of consciousness compared to the other Eve protocol members. You know? So that in somewhat of a short term is the reason as to why our Eve, as well as why Taki and Raven are unique compared to the other angels, and as to why the entire protocol is named after Eve. And it so happens that at the start of the game, when Raven comes and tries to slaughter all of the angels that were just deployed, she senses possibly, or just does a very calculative guess as to where the Eve prototype of the Eve protocol members was landed at, you know. So she goes as close to the crash site as possible. She notices all of the other angels were already dead, and then she looks at the outward appearance and the behavior of the two angels on the screen. One of them is the captain, one of them is not the captain. She deduces based on the behavior of the two which one of them is the captain prototype and which one of them is the Eve prototype. And she attacks us, obviously, because she knows that the Eve prototype is the one that Adam wants for the fusion between the two species. Because Adam knows that in order for the fusion between the two species to work, and for the Eve protocol android to actually carry his legacy with him, and his purpose, his intentions and good motives, he has to pick a very specific protocol member for that, who has the kind of personality traits that are able to be aligned, or should I say influenced, into aligning with Adam's own like values, convictions and agenda towards what this next generation of humanity is supposed to be. And that is also the reason as to why Raven, in his fight, says that all along, like I'm quoting Raven now somewhat, like, I knew all along I was nothing but a tool to guide you to him. The reason as to why Raven says that is not necessarily because she feels actual, like, an actual grudge towards us specifically. She would say that exact same thing, and she probably did say that exact same thing even, towards the other Eve protocol specific Eve prototypes, which there are either only one or a very small handful of what she would call chosen ones on each one of the deployments on the airborne squadrons. On each one of the 7 deployments, there was always at least one of Eve prototypes in between the ranks of the angels, which is our character here. That's our Eve, obviously. And she's basically just saying how, you know, it's nothing personal, right? She doesn't personally feel that we are the person who, like, she's been, like, destined to face off exactly, or anything. Like, she knows from the 2nd Airborne Squadron she's had to kill the 3rd Airborne Squadron Eve prototype, the 4th one, the 5th one, the 6th one, and now the 7th one, which is our Eve in this story, is finally strong enough to the point where she actually gets defeated and we meet Adam face to face and we get to make the choice to either align with his ideals or to destroy him. That is, in short, what the Eve Protocol is, what our Eve is, what Raven's purpose is, what the Raven is, what the difference between the captains as well as the Eve prototypes is compared to the other angels. And that is essentially a very practical explanation as to what the main important characters in this game's story are. There you have it. The story of the Eve Protocol. Now let's go